because they think they're so important. The upper echelon of media, even in the local markets. AI and augmented reality and computer-generated images are taking over. Soon, you won't need a puppet, a real person, reading a script to the audience to tell them the weather and what happened in the news, because they'll be able to generate either a robot or just a CGI image of a newscaster, some kind of, all appropriate newscaster that makes everybody feel good, and they'll be able to tell you the news they want you to hear and have it said the way they want it to be said. They do it now with the people who are actually alive and breathing, but they won't need that soon because the computer technology and the AI and all the CGI and everything like that is so good. And they're on the brink of just being able to have computer-generated newscasters giving you the news each and every week. Computer-generated actors. You won't even see actors' faces anymore. It's all going to be CGI. You won't even know if they're real people once the artificial intelligence gets to a certain point. They won't even need actors or any of this. Anyways, we're long, folks. We'll be right back for the second half of this first hour. Please stand by.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Listening there. Don't go anywhere. The John Lebang Show is going to be right back. Just ask the hillbilly.
That's right. Right after this.
What about me? Maybe next time.
Powerful. Epic music by Toothbox Row. Life-changing lyrics come in every style, empowering humanity to finally unlock the chains of bondage. Experience the edgy side of positive music and rock your world today. From Primal to Divine, available now at sassyalternativemusic.com.
Okay, fellas, let's play smart out here.
Yeah, we all know how to play hockey.
I've never played before.
Okay, well, most of us know how to play.
Welcome to Virtual Infinity.
So much for my fear of drowning. Now what do we do?
I say we ring the doorbell.
What do I owe the pleasure of this whiz? We got a big problem here. Run, Leroy, run!
Don't let it grab you.
Holy faces! Oh!
Coming this spring, Virtual Infinity, a special presentation of the John Lebang Show.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
Well, the poor people of Hawaii are living through not only an earthquake, but they've got a volcano going. At least 6 fissures have been sighted. Maybe more are coming. Lava spilling out all over the place in Hawaii. That's not the only hazard because they got the sulfuric gas that's just permeating the air. So people have to be evacuated just because of that so they don't suffocate in that stuff. That stuff will kill you. If you don't get melted by the lava, and if you survive the 6.9 earthquake. I lived through a pretty hefty earthquake. I think it was 6.4 when I lived out in Seattle. Could be off a little bit on the numbers there. It's been years. It was the second earthquake I'd been through. The first one was in Vegas, and I slept through that. I don't know what that was, but I woke up, the bed was on the other side of the room. I don't know how I slept through that, but back then I could actually sleep, unlike these days. But the one in Seattle was I think it was 6.4. It might have been 0.1 one way or the other. And it was pretty shocking. But I believe the magnitude keeps going up for every point, so that seems that on an island, and I'm just guessing that an island, even though it's a 6.9, it feels a little stronger than if you were on the mainland. I'm not sure. If we can get a geologist out there to maybe send us some information about that on the ship to jlebang@live.com. I'd like to find out, would the shake feel stronger on an island versus on the mainland? But we were fortunate enough not that earthquake didn't set off Mount St. Helens or cause any real major damage. But these people in Hawaii are just, roads are being filled up with lava. They can't even cross roads. They've been evacuating people. Some people are staying behind. And that's natural. Actually, when you watch the movies and they have an earthquake or a lava situation. I forgot what movie that was. Volcano. It was probably Volcano, but I could be wrong. That they people stay behind in these instances because they don't want to leave their home. And they're having this issue in Hawaii. But this is going to rock that, because that's a small little place. That's not like you're having a volcano in Texas and most of Texas won't even be affected from it. This is affecting the entire island. It looks like the southern eastern half of the island's the most affected. But you're talking, or we're hearing they're not sure that this thing has done what it's doing. In other words, it could erupt more fissures could open up, which would cause more sulfuric gas. And, my heart goes out to these people. Because and nature can be a beast, but this has got to be one of the more devastating types of natural events, if it was natural and there wasn't some kind of...
We shall propose further cooperative efforts between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
Conspiracy talk here real quick, folks. There wasn't some kind of scalar weapon or HARP type, frequency type weapon used to... because tensions are high in the world, folks. And whether you want to believe it or not, there are weather modification devices that could cause different kinds of natural looking events. You gotta spell that out completely. Otherwise people twist your words and start calling you conspiracy weirdo. But we already know, if you go back to 1961 when JFK spoke at the United Nations, they were going to work on controlling the weather. At the same time, they were going to work on a global satellite network. Well, we know we have a global satellite network, and it's pretty dang efficient. That's all I'm saying. You can do your research on that and figure out what you want about that. Make your own conclusions. Like William Cooper, we tell you here, don't believe anything we tell you. Double check everything. We try to be pretty accurate here when we tell you something either happened or something's historically correct or not correct. We try to be as accurate as possible. We don't have the largest team on the face of the planet. We may have the smallest team on the face of the planet. But we're doing our, diligent effort here to bring you the most accurate information that we can find. And it's amazing that the information we bring you isn't more readily available through the mainstream manufactured news. The news story that China fired laser weapons at our pilots, man, I can't even find that in the mainstream news. I don't think that made any television network. I could be wrong. If you have a snippet for me, please send it along. If Fox News or CNN or somebody spoke about the Chinese blasting our pilots with laser weapons. I mean, that's what it is now, right? We're basically laser blasters. Can you imagine that we're tapping into Star Wars and Star Trek type weaponry now? That we are on the brink of this. Another thing we're on the brink of, we just heard, what's his name over there? Kurt, he's the big guy over at Google. He's talking about by 2020, 7+ million people will be out of work because technology will be so advanced that it'll be able to take over that many people's work. And by 2030, that's going to be tenfold. And by that time, we're going to have cures for everything. That's what they say. Whether they're going to make those cures available to us, I'm sure the medical field will have something to say about that. If we take all the money out of being a doctor or a pharmaceutical representative, that stuff may be blocked along the way. Some ways it would be good, in other ways it wouldn't. Because some of the futuristic technology that's coming out is going to lose a lot of people's jobs for them. A lot of people are going to be out of work. And I don't know what they're going to do with all these people that are out of work. Currently, we got, and it's funny because I hear it because of one of the businesses I'm involved in, I hear it from people, I can't find anybody to work. And then I talk to them, I'm like, what do you mean? Well, because most of the people we try to hire just don't want to work, or they're not that good at it. And I'm like, well, how much do you pay? And then they tell me how much they pay. I'm like, well, that's why. You're at the rate you want to pay, you're going to get the least qualified people on the planet and probably some of the least intelligent people on the planet. That's just my opinion. And I've attempted myself to find a replacement for the day job that I have to do because, sad to say, this show here hasn't grown enough yet to make it possible that I can live without having that day job to supplement the income. I would love for it to be that way, but it's not that way. We're working towards it, though, and hopefully one day we can get there. But when I speak to these business owners that want people to work for them, and they ask me, do you know anybody looking? I'm like, how much do you pay? Because I would move to something that may not be my specialty, but pays better, right? And I know I can do the job. They tell me how much they pay people. I'm like, well, that's why you're only getting the less qualified. That's why you're not finding the best of the best in that field. You got to pay better. It's like the guy over at Amazon making all this money. I mean, he's like the richest guy on the planet. Pretty close, right? If not the richest guy. Which I have no problem. You can be the richest guy. But when you have that much money and then you find out working for Amazon, these people make diddly squat per hour, I'm like, well, there you go. There you go. In a place like Amazon, you don't need the best workers. You need somebody to wrap some tape around a box, put something in a box, and ship it off. Read something right. But in these other businesses, they think they're the Amazon guy. There comes a point where it's like, how much, as the owner of something, as the head of something, do you need to make when you're trying to hire people for dirt cheap, little or nothing? And unless they have some kind of union backing them, they have no clout. It's a little dishonest and dishonorable to sit there and want to pay people piddly squat for work that some of these jobs that these people can't find people in are dangerous, where you're working up on a ladder half the day. Second floor, you could fall off a ladder and they want to pay you diddly squat, $10 an hour, $11 an hour. No insurance on top of that.